Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to our weekly video. This week, we're going to be talking about what happens when you choose not to honor your soul purpose. Stick with me because I'm going to share with you the top 4 consequences as to what happens if you do choose not to honor it. And of course, I am going to share with you ways for you to start honoring your soul purpose so that you can actually reveal your brilliance and we can be touched by it. So if you're new to my world, welcome. My name is Julie Sasha Klutze. I am the owner of Divine Femme, which is a coaching and mentoring business for the soulful, conscious woman who knows deep down inside that she came here for more. She's at a crossroad right now, and she knows that she's meant to be, do, and have more. She's just not sure if she should turn left or if she should turn right. And what I love to do is use 2 ancient teachings. The ancient teaching of intuitive numerology. I've been a certified master intuitive numerologist for over a decade. And same goes with an energy healer. So I combine these 2 ancient teachings and we create magic. We get you aligned with your purpose and we have you integrate all of your numerical coding, and we move and we shift the energy blocks that are within your system so that you can actually overcome them, move through them, and start sharing your brilliance. So let's talk about what happens when you choose not to honor your soul purpose. And if you're in this position, if you're in this space right now where you're like, holy crap, I'm realizing that I have not been honoring what I came here to do, please have some compassion for yourself. I've been there. I've worked with so many women who have been there. It is very easy for us to become disconnected with our purpose because society does such a great job to program us to forget, right? So, which leads me to the first thing that happens if you have chosen not to honor your soul purpose. So the first thing that usually happens, and I know that happened for myself, is that I ended up living a life of shoulds. So instead of living a life of desire and passion and excitement and joy and authenticity, I ended up living a life according to what other people expected from me, what they believed I should do, what I shouldn't do. So I was basically just living a life by default. Does this sound like you? Does this resonate with you? If it does, it might sting a bit, but it's so important to see ourselves, right? Right now, as I am sharing this video with you, we're in July 2022, and the energy in July is all about reflection. So everything is being mirrored back. But I always say to my students and my clients that life is like magnets and mirrors. So if this is your situation, don't worry, we're going to talk about how we can start honoring your soul purpose, okay? The second one is that you're going to always be asking yourself, what if? Right? It's like, what if I would have just went for that certification? What if I would have just, handed my resignation and started that coaching business? What if I would have partnered up with that person that asked me to do a retreat with her or with him? What if I would have applied for that specific job or for that promotion? And what happens is that when we live in that space of what if, we're continuously throwing ourselves back in the past. And when we are living from the past, we are definitely not in the present moment. And we're missing out on all of the opportunities, all the magic that's happening right now, right? We're supposed to be where we are. I always say this to my clients, be where you are. That's where the magic is. It is not yet, it's not yesterday and it's not tomorrow, it's now. So being in that space is very frustrating and it's very depressing because you're constantly living a life of regrets. Okay, we don't want that for you. The third consequence, if you choose not to honor your soul purpose, or if you haven't been, is that you end up, and this has happened to me, you end up with physical ailments. If you ignored your soul purpose long enough, just like a screaming toddler, I always refer to a screaming toddler, right? At the beginning, the toddler will just be calling your name. If you keep ignoring it, it will start tugging at your shirt. And if you keep on ignoring the little toddler, what happens? He or she will start screaming, throwing a fit. And that's what happens to us when we keep ignoring our soul purpose. The universe wants to co-create with us. The universe wants us to thrive. Source wants us to thrive. It's like our higher self is just looking at us saying, come on, you came here for a reason. You have this soul mission. Let's go. Let's get aligned. And you keep receiving all of these messages, right? It's like a little crumb trail. But if we keep ignoring the crumb trail, there's going to come into a time where the universe is going to be like, okay, she's not getting it. She's just not getting it. So we're going to have her hit a wall really hard. And maybe if she hits the bottom of the barrel, she's going to have enough time to contemplate and reflect and take inventory of her life and make a decision. Whoop, my light just went off. Let me just put it back on now. Oh, I guess I don't have a light now. Okay, that's all right. So this is basically what happens. Let me see if I could just turn this around here so we get a little more light. So this is what happens, is like you end up with these energetic blocks, because the more you repress your deepest desires, the more you ignore what it is that you really want to express, the more it's going to create these energetic blocks within you, right? Emotions, after a while, what happens is that they turn into matter. And what I mean by matter, it means they turn into physical, like a physical ailment. So for my instance, let me see if I can just turn on my laptop and see if some light can come on so that I can actually get some light here. Ah, there we go. I'm back. So what happened to me is that I ignored my calling, my deepest desires, everything that the universe was trying to tell me for so long, that ended up in a burnout. But before that, I had all of these other physical ailments. I remember I ended up with this rash, and then I ended up with digestive issues, and then I had hormonal problems, and then I was having a hard time sleeping, and then I was getting migraines, and it's like all these things were just coming, you know, going one on top of the other, like layering. And finally, when I still wasn't listening, that's when I ended up in a burnout. And so I found myself in an emergency room, right? With 2 little kids at home, my husband, and they're all worried about me, like what's going on with mom. And there I was in the emergency room, and the doctors didn't have a clue as to what was going on with me. I had a pain in my side. They thought it was my spleen. They did all these tests. It wasn't that. Energetically, your spleen carries a lot of energy, and when you are energetically depleted, you will start having spleen problems. And that's why I was in the emergency room. So let's not have that happen to you. And if it has, I completely understand where you're at. I've been through the burnout. I got myself out of it, and it's not a fun place to be in. But that's where you can end up if you continue to ignore your soul purpose, right? Now, last but not least, and this has happened for myself and for a lot of my clients, when you're not aligning to your soul purpose, when you're not honoring it, and you're living a life of shoulds, and eventually what happens is that you start feeling stressed out and resentful, because you're seeing everybody else, or most people, living the life of their dreams. You know, you see them showing up in their authenticity. You see them excited about life. You see them doing what it is that they desire. And then there's you. And you compare yourself to what it is that they're experiencing, and you're not liking what you're seeing at all. And so you start resenting, right? You start feeling really sorry for yourself, and you're not in a very good emotional space, and that will take its toll on your relationships. And you know, I've shared this story before. When my oldest one was 5 years old and my little one was barely a year old, I came down for breakfast, and I was making breakfast and just doing my normal routine. And he said something, and I snapped at him, and I realized that I snapped at him. I said, I'm sorry, you know, that I lost patience. And he said to me, don't worry, Mama, you're always angry anyways. You're just an angry mom. And he said it with such purity, and it was so truthful and soulful. It's like he was just stating the obvious, right? I couldn't argue with him. He was right. And so I walked back up into my bathroom, and I was, you know, putting on my makeup. And I don't know if you've ever tried to put on mascara as you're crying, but it's quite the Olympic sport. And so it hurt me so much, because my 5-year-old saw me as the angry mom. And so it was creating a lot of stress for my children, because I was very impatient, I was very frustrated, and it was creating a lot of stress also with my husband, because he was just, you know, going for whatever it is that he wanted to go for, and he was very high achieving and very unapologetic with pursuing his dreams and his goals. And there I was people pleasing, and there I was living a life of shoulds, and there I was dealing with all my physical ailments. And you know, like, I mean, I pretty much I was experiencing all of these 4 consequences that I shared with you. So honoring our soul purpose is very important, as you can see, because if we don't, the universe is going to become very loud, and our relationships and our life in general is going to become very uncomfortable. And this is where we come at a crossroad, right? There's like a tipping point for all of us. My tipping point was when I was sitting in the emergency room, and I didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. All I know is that I was having a hard time breathing. I was in extreme pain, and the doctors didn't know what to say to me. And that scared the crap out of me. And that's when I knew I had to make a decision. I knew that I had to change something. Something had to happen. And maybe you're at that point right now. You're at the tipping point where your relationships are very stressed, and you're very resentful, or maybe you're going through a burnout. Maybe you have physical ailments because the job that you have is just creating so much stress, because you're not where you're supposed to be, right? You're just ignoring the obvious. And again, you know, I want you to have compassion for yourself, because life is not easy. We didn't come here, you know, to just be experiencing unicorns and rainbows all the time. We came here to expand and to evolve. And with that comes a lot of life lessons. And within my coaching, what I do is that I really take a deep dive into your chart, and I go and extract all of your shadows. I can find them like this in your chart, because sometimes we don't even know really what we're doing that's sabotaging our success, or that's sabotaging our happiness or our abundance. We don't see it because we're too much in it, right? So with my mad deciphering skills, some people call me the queen of deciphering. I come in and I am able to see in your chart what is going on and what's happening and how you're getting in your own way. And what we do is we start peeling back the layers, right? We start shedding light on these shadows, and we transmute them into light. We alchemize them into one of your greatest strengths. Now, I told you that I wanted to give you ways to start honoring your soul purpose. If you're finding yourself in one of these consequences, and these are the top 4. I mean, there are others, okay? But I just wanted to name these 4 because this is what I see the most in my coaching practice. So How do we honor it? How do we start honoring our soul purpose? The first thing that we need to do is to really tap into our desires. What is it that lights your soul? What is it? What could you do all day for free? It's like you would just love it. What would that be? If you had, let's say, $5 million in the bank and you could do whatever you want all day long, like what would you do? What would you do? What lights you up? And now, if you can't answer that question, that's okay too. I have a client right now, and that's what we're working on. She doesn't even know what lights her up anymore because she's been living a life of shoulds for so long. She doesn't even know who she is. Like, she's completely disconnected with her entire electromagnetic frequency. Like, she's just disconnected. And that's okay. That's okay. We're taking a deep dive into all of her numerical codes, and she's rediscovering herself, and she's reconnecting herself with all of her soul, with her soul gifts and her purpose and her strengths and her life themes and everything. And she's really excited about this. That is one of the things that numerology brings to you. It's a deep soul remembrance. So one of the things, the first thing that I would invite you to do is to start reconnecting with what lights you up on the inside. What is that? Who is it that you look at and you say, oh God, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like her. I wish I could do that. That is a clue. The envy that you feel, you have to look into it. Don't ignore it, because we've been programmed to, oh, don't be envious, don't be jealous, it's a bad thing. No. I'm telling you, give yourself permission to be jealous and envious. I used to look at some women, I'm like, oh my God, I wish, Jesus, look at what they're doing. I'm so jealous. Look at it as a clue. Play the Sherlock Holmes. Okay, I want you to look at that. What is it about what she's doing or how she's showing up that just stirs something within you? What is that? That's a clue. Okay, so I want you to reconnect with that. And then I want you to start really nourishing this desire. So let's say you've pinpointed and you say, you know what? I want to open up an Etsy shop and sell my jewelry. Let's say you're a jewelry maker and you've been dabbling it on the side and you've just been making your own pieces, and you've always wanted to open up a shop and just sell it around the globe, you know, like have clients like around the world. This has been your dream, and just having people take pictures of themselves and post it on social media. It's like you just want to see your jewelry, your art, your expression all over the platforms. Like this is just one of your dreams, right? And you want to make people feel like happy and beautiful and joyful and connected to, you know, what it is that they chose from your jewelry line. So let's say that is your deepest desire. I want you to amplify it. I want you to start really nourishing it. So start making lots of these pieces, right? You can offer some for like birthday gifts. You can wear them and just, and showcase them. You can do anything. I want you to really, really get into it. This is an example. You need to nourish this desire. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I want your desire to be far greater than the fear that is holding you back. Okay, right now, fear is winning, right? If you put fear and desire in the boxing ring, fear is kicking your desire's butt right now, okay? So we want the desire to win. We want the desire to overpower the ego, where the ego doesn't even have a voice anymore, okay? We want the desire to swallow up the ego, because the ego wants to keep you safe. The ego wants you to dim your light. The ego wants you to live a life of shoulds, okay? Just stay put, stay small, don't stir the boat, don't rock the boat, don't do that. It's scary, don't do that. Just don't, okay? We don't want the ego to be driving the car. It should not have the keys. Take the keys away from the ego, okay? So these are shadows, right? These are all shadows. Fear of being rejected, fear of being criticized, fear of failing, right? Or sabotaging. As soon as you start seeing some success, it's like, oh my God, I'm showing myself too much. Nope, I'm ashamed. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't be taking up so much space. Boom, that's a shadow. And we get to actually transmute these into light, like I was saying, when you choose to coach with me, okay? So this is one of the easiest ways, and it's a fun way too, for you to start honoring your soul purpose. And the more you amplify this desire that you have, the more you're going to be able to move through whatever it is that is holding you back, that's holding you captive, that's stopping you from honoring your soul purpose and actually just falling in line and doing whatever it is other people believe you should do. Okay? I want you to thrive. I want you to step out of the shadows and into the light and share your brilliance with the entire world, because guess what? We came here to be touched and to be moved and to be healed by your magic. Before we all incarnated into this lifetime, we all made some soul pacts, right? We made some soul contracts here. So you are supposed to be somebody's medicine. And if you're not sharing your medicine, how is that person going to heal? These people who said before incarnating, saying, okay, once we're like on earth, we're going to meet up. I'm going to have this ailment or this problem, this situation, and you're going to help me. And that's going to be our journey together. That's going to be our experience. So you need to honor the promise that you made. When you start looking at our soul purpose that way, when you start looking at ourselves that way, like, oh my God, I made a promise to myself and to other beings. I need to hold my word. I need to honor who it is that I came here to be and what I came here to do and how I'm supposed to show up in this lifetime. When you start looking at yourself that way, things start to shift and you start making different decisions. And one of the things that I find so powerful about the way that I coach and my readings is that once you reconnect with your soul, once you have tangible evidence, like, oh my God, I came here to do this. It's like deep down inside, you know, and it's a whole like reconnection, you know, it's almost like an inner communion. Once you experience that, it's like you walk away from our time together a changed person, because now you see yourself differently. Now you know. So when you sit down with me, you do not leave the same person as to when you sat down, as you first sat down with me. You don't, because I activate something within you, right? I'm a soul igniter. So what I do is that I ignite it. I ignite something in your soul. I activate some of the coding that was dormant, and we shift and we move through things so that when you walk away, when our time together is over, if it's just like a one session, a reading, you don't see yourself the same way. I have had women sit with me and they were at their lowest, like going through a depression, like they were at the bottom of the barrel. And after our reading, after our time together, because I do a lot on social media, within hours, I would see them showing up on their social media completely different. I would see the shift happening during our reading, because my readings are different. It's not just a reading, it's actually a soul session. And what I do is that without you really knowing or understanding, I'm actually doing a lot of energy healing. I'm moving a lot of stagnant energy around in your system as we are going through your chart. And so when our time is done, you walk away and you feel different, you feel lighter. And you'll start making different decisions for yourself. So I've seen women, you know, just completely shift from like being completely depressed and frustrated and confused to leaving our time together, smiling and laughing and already making plans for the following day and sending me messages the next day saying, oh my God, Julie, like, I can't believe it. This just happened. That just happened. It's crazy. Like within hours, things shift. And this is not about, I'm not saying this to to compliment me. It's not that. I want to show you just how powerful you are. I'm sharing these stories so that you understand that when you choose yourself, when you make the decision, everything shifts. This is how powerful you are. It all starts with you. It starts with one decision, and that's to put yourself first in line. So if you're ready to put yourself first in line and you want to take a deep dive into your numerical coding and you want to experience this deep soul remembrance so that you can see yourself for this beautiful divine being that you truly are, then I invite you to book a reading with me. I will put the link and you can get it on my calendar, and let's dive into the numerical realm together and let's shift some energy. I also offer one-on-one mentorship. It's called Luminary. Again, the link is going to be in the description so that you can click on it, go and see what it's all about. It's basically me in your back pocket, and we light leap. We light leap. So if you are all in and you're really ready to shift things and to start quantum leaping, you want the mentorship. So go and take a look at that. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can reach out to me personally, or you can write something in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So I want to thank you for joining me for this weekly live. I will be back next Tuesday. And on that, I'm sending you all so much love and so much light. Ciao for now.